good living. And I paid for a couple courses that I learned some valuable lessons, but not in real estate per se. So um, I did do, like you said, I did two lease options, and that was about it, but I didn't want to give up. And so I'm not a big fan of, this is just me. I know they're really good because Evan's really good at going to these real estate meetups and all this kind of stuff. So I paid money, like I hear many people have, 10, 20,000 to do these courses. And then, I really wasn't that far along, but I kept devouring like, Pace Morby and some, good content, people I really liked. But I knew I had to have somebody I could connect with and get close to that kind of take me by the hand if I was really going to do this. So a lot of times when I went to the meetups, I didn't really get a lot out of it, which is why I wasn't thrilled. But there was a meetup I went to where I met Evan, and it actually was very informative. It was really good. It was at his parents' church at the time in Nashville, and that's where I first met Evan. And well, like they say, the rest is history. But along
That's
the
right.
way, yeah, first it was just a meeting like this that he was doing, right? And then he decided to form a group and, invited some people to do it. And yeah, uh, then along the way, we have partnered with somebody. We decided we were doing agents, calling agents for sub two deals, and then kind of wanted to get more of a pain point, get more zeroed in. So somehow we'd come across, Michael Frank, and he's probably one of the best there is in foreclosures. And I will say, you know, we decided to go in that direction, and Evan decided to invest and become, in that program, which was very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Easy to say when I'm not paying for it, but but it was reasonably
You're
priced.
right. It was fairly priced.
Yeah. And so we just got very focused, which I think was extremely helpful. And we knew that
Hmm.
these people had a pain point, which was very helpful to me. There was no doubt about it. Because when you're calling agents and maybe you're gonna, want to pitch creative, you don't know if it's a divorce or, they're just an empty nester. So you don't have any idea what their pain point is really. And when you focus in on a niche like foreclosure, I loved it because I was like, okay, these people really, really do have a need. And like I said, we invested as a team in Michael Frank so that we could learn each week from somebody who really, really has done 600 foreclosure deals. And it was a game changer for us. Um, so I guess I say all that to say, I think it's important you don't try to do it by yourself if they're like come to these meetings on Wednesday night, because I tell you, Evan's strength is his ability to communicate effectively with the right tonality. I remember when I first started with him, I realized I was relying a lot on my personality when I would get on calls with homeowners. So I can be nice, I can be friendly and talk about your dog and your kids and and I just really got way in the weeds trying to build this relationship with them, which really didn't help them in the long run. So I really learned from Evan, listening to him on calls and being on calls with him, how he really had a track he stayed on. I would always say he knew he was going from A to Z. And yet he still was friendly. He was still empathetic. And um, like I said, I think that's one of his strong points
Mm.
because he's got many.
Well, that's kind of you. So like, what would you recommend to people that maybe are, well, how many of you in the group, like, if you've have type one in the chat if you've ever tried to use your personality to win over a deal or feel like, build rapport, or you're like, man, what's your favorite team? Or like, oh, you have a dog too, like that kind of thing. Because I think most people, there you go, Amir's at least on it. Okay. Cody. Yeah, we've all done it. Like I think almost everyone has done that for sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ben, definitely. So, Cyndi, what would you tell people? Like why is there maybe a better approach to that? And like what would you say that approach is?
Well, because you find you really don't get where you want to go because you're off on all these bunny trails and you may be real friendly, but you really don't get to that end where you're helping them. So for me, I really do like scripts. And I do think you need to learn them. And then once you're comfortable with them, you don't need them anymore, so to speak. But I'm still in the stage where often I do need them, even though I know more than I think I do. But it helps keep me on track, at least if I have it in front of me, maybe just the bullet points. So, and we do call reviews. So I would say for free content, like if you can get, and there's a lot of good content. Frankie does call reviews, Pace Morby does. When you listen to call reviews, and I know, Evan, when I met you, you were listening to Brad, I think, you do that, you know? So find someone that resonates with you and um, sort of get the path. So you have an A to Z. You have a beginning point and an ending point, and you get there. And you can
Mm,
still I really cut out a lot of the um, just talking about personal stuff. But every
mm.
now and then, like you can throw it in, like salt, a little bit of salt, because I notice you do that, but you get right back on track. And it really is
Yeah,
the best for them, you know?
it is. It is because there's a difference in. I think the biggest thing is that we want to be friendly and we want to be friends. But
Hmm.
I guess the question I would ask to everyone on this call is that is your friend really a good friend if they're not willing to challenge you every once in a while?
Hmm.
You know, and I think that's kind of the mindset that I would want to have with a homeowner. Like obviously they're in a tough spot. Most of these people, there's a reason why they're still there. It's because they haven't been willing to look at the real situation, how those problems are affecting their life, and what's going to happen if they don't change that behavior. Right.
Hmm.
So what's our job? Our job is, I think, to be real friends and real leaders and lead them through a process and hold their hand through that process and let them take one step at a time to get there. Right. And I think
Hmm.
that's still friendly in its nature. That doesn't have to be like rude, like I'm just bossing you around. It's like, no, like let's walk through this together. Just like someone that goes to counseling or therapy. It's like, what else is there? You're just
Yeah.
bringing awareness to the situation. That's all it is. So
Yeah.
what do you feel like is the biggest difference between maybe like following a script versus like when to hop off and maybe ask some clarifying questions for people?
Um, well, like I said, for what we're doing, if you're asking about repairs, it's really easy to talk through that, and maybe not be right on the script, but um, I don't know. I mean, I still am amazed when I listen to Evan, who's done hundreds of these now, and he'll give us a call review, or I'll be on a call with him when he's following up with one of my people. We're on it together, and I'm like, he's still following the script. I mean, it's all in his head, but it's in his head so well that he knows, okay, the five things you always say, the you're going through one, through two, through three. You get it all in there, you know? And I'm like, wow. So I don't know, that's helped me a lot listening to the call reviews and realizing I need to stay on track.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's great. And then what about them though? Like they don't have our script, right? And so like and let's say they have their own script. When do they know like what are some appropriate times to maybe jump off of the script and then come back?
Well,
Like that's kind of what I'm asking.
okay, like we're learning, like if they say, yeah, this has just been so stressful. I don't want to deal with a realtor because, I don't want to have to, it's just too stressful. So there is not a script. There you'd press in and say, well, what's so stressful about it? And you'd go, oh my gosh, I got three kids. I have to constantly be cleaning up. I got to make the house perfect. I just don't have the energy to do that. And that's where you press in, oh, three kids. That would take a lot of time, wouldn't it? I can see why you wouldn't want to have to that'd be hard to keep your house clean to show it. So those are the kind of the times you go off, as we call it, digging in and not just skipping over those things.
Yeah. Well, what did maybe you used to do, or what do you feel like most investors do when someone says, "Oh, things have been so stressful recently"?
I understand, yeah. And then that up and on you go.
Right.
Yeah,
And what does that get you? Right.
yeah,
Not much.
yeah.
What do you miss out on? I mean, what are the things that we've been told when you ask that question? I mean, you could probably rip off the top of your head three examples of things that you've been told when you clarify what do you actually mean by stress? What do you actually mean by feeling what does that mean? When you say you're overwhelmed, like how do you mean by that?
I mean, I just can't sleep at night. It's just got me so, I mean, I haven't got a good night's sleep in months now, you
Oh my
know?
God. I mean, yeah, and how long has that been going on for?
I mean, for months. I can't believe it. I'm just worn out. I'm just so worried about all this.
And I guess you going back and forth, and this is where you use the data they told you, right? You going back and forth between Florida and Clarksville, you trying to do the repairs. I mean, you mentioned you're stressed, you're not sleeping at night, doing that for the last 8 months now. Like, what's that doing to you and your family?
Oh, yeah, I'm just snapping at him. I'm short-tempered, and I don't like
Um,
that. Yeah.
Is that something that you want to, I guess, like keep settling for?
Well, I hadn't thought about it that way, but no, not really.
Well, why not? I mean, there's a lot of homeowners that, and notice I'm going to kind of push away. There's a lot of homeowners that just put it off to the side, right? They wait another year. I mean, and you could wait another 9, 10, 11, 12 months. You could wait 2 years if you wanted to. Like, why do this now?
It's just too
See,
overwhelming. I got to make a change. Yeah. Yeah. So that you
the
kind
time to
of,
make a change.
yeah.
Yeah, we're taking one step at a time. And that's what Cindy means. The importance of digging in, right? So good, Cindy. Um, hmm. I would actually like to talk about the deal because I did post about something that's a, near six-figure deal, which is pretty cool to talk about. And so, and we don't want to talk about this in like a bragging way because it's like we did a lot to help this homeowner. And we still are working a lot to help this homeowner. And we won't get into too many details on this because it's kind of complex. But Cindy, could you talk a little bit about like getting in contact with this homeowner at first, kind of like where it started and kind of the ghosting period, and just kind of talk about maybe the deal itself. Just give us a story.
Well, we've had a couple. Do we mean Brittany or Holly and
No,
Brittany?
no, I'm talking about the one in Knoxville with Julia.
Julia.
Julia in
Julia.
Knoxville. Yep. I want to
Oh,
hear about Julia.
oh my gosh. Well, she's something else. Very, very smart, very, very sharp, very forthcoming about what the situation she was in and why she was in it. And definitely realized after went through all the options, she couldn't do bankruptcy. She did not have the money to reinstate, all the ones we go through. And so she decided it would be best to sell because she'd get some cash. We'd give her a little time in the home, right?
Mhm. Was that conversation easy, getting her to talk about selling, or was that difficult?
No, it wasn't hard with her. It really
It
wasn't.
wasn't hard.
No, it
Okay.
wasn't
So
too
that's
hard.
some good encouragement for some people on here because they may
Yeah,
think, oh my gosh, like, how are any of them going to ever want to sell?
yeah,
Right. Sometimes it comes across that way and they're like, hey, yeah, no, I want to sell if I get the right number. Some
yeah.
people come to their senses a little bit quicker, but that's usually not the case. Usually not.
No.
Right. Okay. So she was willing to sell. So then what was the next step from there?
Well, just kind of going through what that would look like, when we take care of the arrears, finding that out, um, finding how far behind she was and getting on the phone with you, doing a three-way, walking through it with her, explaining everything. And then we needed to follow up, and she just started ghosting us, right? And so we keep following up. And then it was literally like, what was it, the day before the sale? She calls us and says, Could you help?"
Yeah. And we followed up for probably what, 3, 4 weeks, something
Yeah,
like that,
and
2 or 3 weeks.
she'd actually been talking to another investor we found out who was going to give her supposedly like 2 months in the home, all this long time in the home. So she was trying to play what we'd talked about to what they were offering, and then obviously they weren't legit, and they left her hanging right with her auction the next day. So she asked us to help, and
Mm,
yep.
that's so good. Yeah. I mean, because we had that conversation and y'all are going to have this at times where you talk to somebody. Griffin and I have had a lot of these for some reason. We attract these leads where it's like we hop on a call. They're like, yeah, this is great. Like, let's do it. And then like they're just off the radar for like 2 weeks. And it's like, where did you go? Like, why? Why? I thought this was good. And it just goes to show you, I mean, we're all human, right? And
Yeah.
everyone has their reasons for why they want to hide or why they maybe don't want to tell you the truth or whatever it is, right? And to some degree, I think it's important for us to take responsibility and be okay, like what could I have done better there? Because there's
Mm.
probably something we could have done. Does that mean it's all our fault? I have a tough time agreeing with that too. I think it's a little bit of both, right? And that's at least my perspective. And so I think that for us, when we have someone ghost, Cindy, what are some ways that you can get someone back on the phone? Like if they're ghosting you, what are some things we
Oh, we've tried some humor. You
tell us
know,
about that?
funny little memes we send, like "Don't you dare ghost me" or whatever. And sometimes that works. It gets them back on. I know it's worked for Griffin, I think, at least once. So
Hmm. What are some
just
other things you could try?
I just try saying things differently. I don't say the same old thing every time. I've really been thinking about you, and were you able to get it stopped? Or I don't know. What do you have on your mind, Evan, that we do that I'm not
No,
thinking of?
I think that's great. I think that's a gem right there. It's like using specific things that y'all talked about in the last conversation.
Yeah.
How many of y'all, if you're honest, when you're following up with someone, are actually talking about the things that y'all talked about in the last conversation. Hey, I was actually talking to another homeowner, and they were talking about looking into Chapter 13 bankruptcy. It kind of made me think. I know you had some questions about that as well. And our team was talking about maybe some different ideas. Would it be helpful if we just hop on a quick call and kind of talk through what those ideas were? Like that's pretty specific to like their situation,
There's one
right?
I'm thinking of, a lead I have right now. I'll talk to you about it tomorrow, Trisha. But she's in a really difficult spot, taking care of her husband with Alzheimer's, doing it all herself, all this stuff. Doesn't want to sell yet, but she cannot, her son was going to get on with the bank, see if they could do a loan mod. She told me today, no, the bank actually told her she needs to sell. And she does not, she's still not there mentally. And but she's getting there because we talked enough where I said, well, what are you going to do if the bank just literally in 21 days auctions your house and sells it? I mean, auctions your house and takes everything. She goes, oh, I'll sell it before that. I'm like, okay. But then she painted a picture of her husband. She's like, I just think it would traumatize him. He lives in the bedroom and he can walk to the bathroom, but he lives in the bedroom. And to have to move, because I asked her if she'd move in the area, that kind of stuff. And she goes, it would just traumatize him. And I went, huh. I said, I guess we'd have to make sure we took every single thing out of that bedroom and got a bedroom in a similar size and set it up identically so that he'd feel comfortable. And because I mean, like, that's just an excuse. If the bank comes and takes it, he's going to be not
Right.
there. So, but she said, yeah, yeah, So things like that, where you really listen to people and try to help them, that's a real concern of hers or an excuse. But either way,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a little bit of both, considering the circumstances.
yeah.
It's like definitely a concern. She's scared. And I think what you'll find if you're calling pre-foreclosures, you have to, I think, start to accept that they're not in the same situation as you are. They're not thinking like you are. They don't have their head above water like a lot of us do. They're drowning. They're drowning in stress, financially, decision fatigue. Think about how many decisions they're trying to make right now. I
Yeah.
mean, I think any of us can relate to this when you've been extremely stressed. Sometimes it can feel paralyzing.
Mm-hmm.
It can feel so overwhelming that I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to look at it. And what happens when you let that go on for 3, 4, 5 months? It just gets worse,
Yeah. And it
right?
can
So it's
be
our job to help with that.
and it can be anything like that one I'll never forget where it's not even anything to do with foreclosure. I think a realtor brought it to you. And the guy did not want to be separate from his wife. And at first he wanted something like 20 or 30,000. And by the time he got on the phone with
Yeah.
you,
I wanted 40.
yeah, and he'd been down in Florida and she was up here. He's like, I don't even care. The only thing that matters to me is to get my wife next to me, near me. So so it is a pleasure to work with people that are motivated. I will say that, although it's not necessarily, I'm finding when I'm dealing with elderly people lately, like you just said, Griffin attacks certain people. I'm getting the elderly people that really need help. And but yeah. So
Well, it's a lot of attention to detail
yeah.
because they're kind of, they're in their way. They've been there for 20 years a lot of times, and they just haven't. I mean, like the lady that we just helped, Barbara, she she hasn't been out of the house in how many years?
And it's been at least a full year. She hadn't even left her house. And she was a
A full
nurse,
year. She hadn't
intelligent
left the house in
lady.
a full year.
Yeah. And
So no wonder it's scary to leave.
it's
Like,
kind of
of
funny, but it's
course.
not. She has no computer, so we're doing everything, all the paperwork through the phone. And she would have the heck of a time with her emails finding it, like and so finally Evan gets on a three-way call with me and Evan goes, I don't think she can see. And I went, oh, that's it. She has the cataract. She can't see very well. I should have thought of that.
I was on FaceTime with her and I was sharing the screen for the contract because she didn't have a computer. So I'm on FaceTime and I'm sharing the screen. I'm like, so you go right there. And she's like, where do I go? And I'm like, see document right there. And it's like in huge letters. And she's like, I don't see it anywhere. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, Cyndi, you
I
can't see.
know. And I was so
Yeah.
mad
So
at
we
myself
should,
I didn't catch it.
oh man,
Yeah.
the problems. And y'all have to just, you have to have a community like this, hopefully, that you can laugh with, like
Yeah.
about some of these things because they're so crazy. I'm not saying the people, just the circumstances.
Yeah.
That if you don't learn to laugh about it and have a little bit of fun, you will go insane.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that right now because there have been times I've gone insane. So let's just be real about it. And Dan, I know I don't mean to call you out, but you're knocking pre-foreclosures right now, right? Is that something you're doing?
Yes, yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Hmm. Yeah. Have you experienced kind of like the crazy, like kind of like the delusional thoughts? Like, can you talk a little about that on what you've experienced?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely have. The one that comes to mind that I went out on Memorial Day actually and made an offer on a house that it was actually the house that I'd been turned down the rudest from. I mean, I had knocked the door and knocked the door a couple times. Guy comes to the door, and I'm just trying to keep that conversation going. And he goes, "Look, man, you see your car over there? You can go get in your car and get the hell out of here." And I was like, "Man, you know." And it was one of those homes you kind of have a feeling that they're in distress. And so I circled up 2 weeks later, left a note, and I get a call 5 minutes later, and he's just apologizing. Dude, I was having a bad day. I'm sorry. Like he couldn't say sorry enough. And so I kind of helped them. They were going to get a loan mod going, and I thought things were going good. And then a couple weeks later, well, it's a couple months later, um, just before Memorial Day, she gave me a call and she said, "Hey, can you guys help us?" And so I started talking with her and just hearing about what they were trying to do. They were hoping to sell the home, but then it turned out they were trying to put a bunch of work into the house to be able to sell it. And their auction date's 2 weeks off. And her husband, he's been Googling stuff, so he's aware that they can file for foreclosure. I mean, for bankruptcy. They're not too worried about the repercussions of that. They have another house. And so just being on the phone with them, I was able to tell her pretty confidently, if that's really what you're thinking, we're probably not good buyers for you, but I would still love to come by if you want me to. And I'll walk the house and talk with you guys. And they're like, yeah, yeah, come on. We want to apologize anyway for being rude. So I go over there and they were totally delusional about, what they thought their home was worth. And they're putting all this work into it and all the work they're doing, any one of us would have to tear it out and redo it. And it was just one of those things where when it came down to it, our offer price wasn't even close to something they thought they could accept. And it was just like talking to a delusional wall. Like we were $100,000 off from each other. And I don't know what they're going to do. I don't. And we left on great terms. They were like, "Thanks so much." I was like, "Yeah, no problem, guys." Um, and I even was really honest with them. I was like, "Hey, look, so if we're really not a good fit, let me just tell you what I would do. Um, that way, hey, if you guys want to flip your home in 2 weeks and sell it on the market, which is obvious, it wouldn't work, right? But I kind of painted this picture that hopefully they could add up was completely impossible. But yeah, super delusional people that were in a pickle called me back after 3 months. I'm taking it as a win, but
Because they
that
called you back. They thought of you.
right, that
Yeah.
after sending me off his front porch, I ended up in the house. But yeah, they were super delusional, and it was one of those ones where it kind of left me just going weird, you know?
Mm, that's so good, dude. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah,
Sure.
it's a common experience. Cindy, I think one thing that I would love to hear from you, and I think a lot of people could take from, would be maybe like what did you believe that you had to have? Or like what have you told yourself for a long time? Maybe trying to get into real estate, you're like, I need to have this or whatever that you maybe you've gotten into it now and you realize, you know what, like maybe those things weren't as important as what I thought. You thought of anything like that? I think we tell ourselves a lot, like, oh, I'm not like that person. I'm not like Cindy. I'm not like Evan. I'm not like Ben. I could never do that. And it's like we tell ourselves these things, and I just don't, I'm not sure that, like, they're kind of just lies. Have you had anything like that in your life?
All I can think of is I had expectations of how quickly things would come that were way off because I hadn't actually realized I didn't put in the reps. So it's kind of like when I wanted to exercise years ago and I went out and bought all this exercise. This will kind of answer, I hope you, but I bought all the stuff, the pants, the all the workout stuff, and then I didn't want to go exercise, even though I bought the stuff. So I put the cart before the horse. So it's kind of like that with real estate. I think I expected things to happen so quickly and I hadn't put the reps in. And I think I was looking for something magical, and when at the end of the day, in the beginning, if you're all starting out, if you have to pick up the phone and you have to make the calls and you have to do the reps, and that's how you get better at it. And then realize that I think I was if something I expected was it to be quicker, and it's just something that I'd find that one thing that would make it work. This is it. And then I'd go, this is it. Oh, this is it. And really, it's getting on the phone every day, talking to people and getting better at talking to people. And the more you do it, I think, which I've been with you now 2.5 years, something's changing even now recently to where I really care. Like I've always cared, but I really care. So like I have to admit, even 6 months ago, I wouldn't have really wanted to hop on the phone with the lender if I didn't have an agreement in place because I wouldn't want to spend that time. And like when this deal, we're just trying, hopefully get the confirmation it's stopped tomorrow with Brittany. I spent a lot of time, like hours with her. And I was even asking you, am I wasting my time or is this good? And then you kind of came alongside me to make sure I wasn't and said, but I just got on the phone and did a lot with her lender, and before I ever knew if we'd have a deal or not. But it's paid off now. I didn't know if it would, but it did. And so I find I do that effortlessly now. I really care. If there's something I can do, I'm going to do it. Now, you got to be
Mhm.
careful you don't take too much time. But like this other deal we have with Roger, he has no money, nothing. Son tried to commit suicide. He's all alone, going to lose his house. And I'm trying to spend a little bit of time looking up government programs that can get him some food. And like Evan and I sent him $100 in a gift card to Walmart before we even knew we'd have a deal to get him some groceries, you know? And it meant a lot to him because I said, "Do you have anything to eat in your refrigerator?" He's like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay." And he doesn't have a computer. And so I was trying to figure out, how do we do it? How do I get this gift card to him? And we figured it out, So I don't know. I love all that part of it when you really
Yeah,
get to help people,
I
whether
I
you get
love
a
that
deal or
too.
not.
Totally. Yeah. When I think that we talked about getting on the phone and even just caring, I think it goes back to the gym that you just said, which is like get in the reps and have the conversations. And I know everyone in this call has heard that a million times, but
Yeah.
you need to think about it from a different perspective, I think. Or at least I would suggest that you look at it from this way. How many things do you get better at by doing the reps? Okay. Number one, you get better at, let's say, having the conversation. Okay, cool. Number two, when you get better at having the conversation, what does that allow you to do? It allows you to be more comfortable, which then allows you to actually genuinely care because you're not worried about what you're going to say next. Right. Number three, it allows you to get better at clarifying and probing, which is what Cyndi said. Like, how do you mean by stress? What do you mean by overwhelmed? Because you're not so stuck on a script because you've called 1,000 times. You're like, I know the script like the back of my hand. I don't feel the need to stay attached to it. I can go off and come right back. Right. Which
Hmm.
is, I think, kind of what we talked about. Right.
Yeah.
Or small things like maybe you've had a hard time. Like anyone that's dialed 100 dials in a day knows when you first start, it's really inefficient. Has anyone ever noticed that? If you've never done that and you're calling 100 people, like people do research on properties before they make the call. And then, like, even when you stop doing that habit, then it's like it takes you forever. You start typing it into your phone and you're like, okay. And then what you start to learn is like, oh, wait, there's a quick way to do this. And then me and Cindy have talked about this. You copy it on your computer, you hit paste on your phone, boom, shaves off like 20, 30 seconds, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like you start
Yeah.
figuring out these small things and they all stack up on each other. It's not just one thing,
Yeah.
right? And the most important thing is you build confidence.
I was
It's
just
like,
going to
hey, you
say
know
that.
what? I can do this. I've overcome this fear of mine. A lot of it's a fear for a lot of people. Hey, guess what? I still feel it too, by the way. I'm 4 years into this, basically, full time. And I still get anxiety sometimes calling people on the phone. So if anyone that is like in this circle or whatever is like telling you, oh, it's just such a breeze and it's just like, I'm just chilling out on the couch. Are there days like that? Sure. Are there days where I'm feeling myself and I'm like, oh, I could say anything and it's going to hit? It's like, I feel that way on the basketball court sometimes. I'm like, boom, let's go, But, oh, worst shot ever. But you know what I'm saying? So, Cindy,
I
do you have
do
any
know what
thoughts
you're
on
saying.
that?
Well, no, I was just going to say there's a confidence that you get only by putting the reps in to where even if it's just the opening line or a voicemail you're leaving or you get someone on, even somebody difficult. One of my funnest challenges is getting somebody difficult because I can tell they really don't know who you are or what you're about, but you have enough confidence to explain it to them when you totally flip them. You totally flip them to where they're like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I get you and I'll talk with you." But there is a confidence that only comes. You can't. have to do it, and they sense it. There's no words to put to it. It's just even how you speak when you say, "Hey, this is Cyndi with LoveWell." They can tell because I think there's a lot of fear that we overcome. Like we become better people doing it, and because there's, like you provoke the objection. So that's something that's always stuck with me. You really do provoke the objections because it's your fear that they're going to say this or that. And once you get over that fear, you don't provoke it anymore. They don't even ask. They don't ask those
Hmm.
questions. And so it's great.
This is a great segue if you don't mind. So
Yep.
Cyndi, one of the first times, um, got a contract on a creative deal where she fully went through the whole thing. She pitched sub two, transition, taking over the payments, knocked it out of the park. It was awesome. It was like literally picture perfect. Now, the words were great, but it was her conviction behind it. And she didn't have, you could tell she wasn't fearful. She was just like, hey, this is how we could do it. We're going to take over the payments, blah, blah, blah. And Cyndi laughs about this a lot. Like, she's like, whenever you're on the phone, maybe you can explain that, but it's pretty funny. Like,
Well,
just like the tone that you have, like, whenever it's like, you kind of have to, I think a lot of us are scared to talk about these creative topics. I mean,
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
creative
yeah.
finance community. So I want to touch on this for a second. But a lot of times we're scared to talk about sub two or taking over payments or seller finance because it's like, oh, they're not going to want to do that. But it's like, don't
Right,
assume that because you
exactly.
don't know where their head is. And then also, like, number two, the way you're talking about it sounds like you don't want to do it either. Because, I mean,
Exactly.
really, I mean, it sounds like you're scared to even talk about it. So, like, why would they want to do it?
And then one where I did it, I already knew enough because I'd talked with the son before I got on with him, and I knew the numbers in his situation, and it just wasn't going to work if it wasn't subject to. I mean, we couldn't help him. So I already knew before I picked up the phone that I was going to go through everything and then go in, segue into that. And it was just very natural. I did have my script up, but I knew it. So I just kind of had it if I got off course, so I would be comfortable. And yeah, it actually was easy, because that's how we could help him. And it's just
Hmm.
amazing.
One, I think you're starting to internalize it, which is
Yeah.
what the reps do too. What does internalizing a script allow you to do differently than just when you're reading a script?
I think your belief in it, it's just like for me, it's just like I believe it. I believe this works. I believe when I internalize it, it gives me authority, confidence. I know what I'm talking about. This is how it is. Um, Evan could tell someone, just go jump off the cliff and you'll just be fine and blah blah blah. And they just do it because yeah, not really, but you get my point. He just does things so calmly that no matter what he says, they're like, yeah, okay. Because there's no,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think we
we're
can
just
get you the $5,000 if we can do it another way.
yeah.
So we would have to jump off the cliff, and once we send that to the title company, we're gonna, yeah, it's like, just lead it down. That's so funny, actually. Oh my gosh, that's great. Okay, well, I really want to leave it open for Q&A. Cyndi, I think this was great. Like, I think there was a lot of hidden gems here, and I think if you're on this call, you should go back and listen to this again, and see like where does this apply in my life? Maybe it's one thing. It doesn't have to be everything. Like, what's one thing that can get me to take the next step this week? Like tomorrow, not next week, tomorrow. How can I make one call tomorrow listening to what Cyndi had talked about? So, what questions do y'all have? Could be about anything. Let's leave it.
I just want to say something to Ben. I was biking and I went by this house that it looks like they've stopped and started remodeling it. So I did a little research and found the owner. And last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago, I thought, oh, I'm going to go knock on the door and see if they're interested in selling it. I'm telling you, she came up at our little golf court. She was one of the nastiest. I think it could have been her granddaughter, like was 15, 16, was sitting next to her, would not even make eye contact with me. And I felt for her because I thought, oh, you got to live around this woman or be around this woman. She was just nasty. And finally, she's like, I am highly offended because I asked if she might want to sell her the house down the road. And she's like, get off my property. Like, get off now. And I'm like, okay, you have a great day. And I heard her go, well, I can't now. And I wanted to go so badly. Well, that's up to you. But I'm like, just let it go, Cyndi. But I'm thinking, you know what, Ben, maybe I'll go back and approach her again and just see what happens.
That's good.
Yeah. Don't give up.
Yeah, no, you should. To go along with that, I just had one the other day because you've been talking about confidence of reps, and I know that the first couple of people that I actually helped file a loan modification or do something like that,
Hmm.
I got a lot of confidence from that because we show up and we say we're here to help. It's like how help how? because I'm thinking we're going to try to buy the house, right?
That's
And so after
exactly.
I helped a couple of people, I had a lot more confidence. And I had a lady the other day that I knocked the door, and they had a no soliciting sign, no trespassing sign. And I knocked anyway. And as soon as she opened the door, I said, "Hey, you know, forgive my intrusion. I saw your sign, but I just thought it was important. I stopped anyway. Just wanted to introduce myself." And as soon as she found out what I was there about, she was like, "Oh no, we're good." And then she goes, "By the way, that is so rude to stop by someone's home when they're in some kind of foreclosure." And my personality, and I shouldn't have done it, but and I did it very kindly. But I said, "Ma'am, if you only knew how many people I've actually helped, you would say thank you for what I'm doing."
Good for you.
And
I
she
like it.
said, and she kind of snarkily said, "Well, thank you," and slammed the door. And I was like, Ben, you should have just shut up. But it's because I had so much confidence from having helped a few
Yes.
families that,
Yes.
yeah, I couldn't help but say that to her, and I shouldn't have. But anyway,
Well, you know what you just said, I think was beautiful because that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Exactly. Where we say, oh, we're going to help you. But I'm thinking, no, I'm not. I want to buy your house. How am I helping you? Until you do that for nothing, get on the phone or you help somebody for nothing, you know? Or I've heard Michael Frankie on calls go, do you have groceries? Is there anything you need? Now, you're not going to go around doing this all the time, but it just felt right with this guy. I was like, man, he said he sold a $200 tool. Of course, we could go buy cigarettes, probably not the best choice. But anyway, to get food. So I'm like, do you have food? And then I was going to do $100 and Evan said, I'll go in with you. And I thought that felt so good without a contract to actually help somebody. Like you say, that like you just built your confidence. We really will help. So I'm glad you shared that. That was perfect. I think I'll write her something though before I go here face to face again. Oh.
That's great. What other questions y'all have?
I had a
Anything that
question.
stuck?
By the way, my name is Skyland. I'm new to the group, so I've been talking to Evan a little bit here and there randomly. But
Hey, dude.
nice to meet you
Thanks
guys.
for hopping on. Nice to meet you, man.
Oh yeah. So I'll say I'm new to real estate investing. I've tried to start on and off again. I did the whole try to start with wholesaling thing because of YouTube and come close, but still haven't had my first deal. But I'm new to creative finance. So I was wondering, like, with the newbie, should someone like me like try to like I guess partner up with someone who knows creative finance since I'm new to it and I'm still learning about it, or should I still like try to wholesale or anything? Because I don't want to be a one trick pony where I'm just offering low cash offers or anything, and because I just want to keep learning and try to actually like give people offers like options, I guess, when I'm making offers.
Mm,
Can I can
that's
I
really good. That's a good
can
question.
I
Cindy, do you want to kind of touch on that real quick? Like maybe some initial thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'm sure some people do this by themselves and they're just fine, but I really do think a community is important. So even if you keep plugging in here and maybe bring us something that you ran across, like
Mhm.
a lead that you talked to and said, how would I go like book a follow-up call? Say, I'm going to think about this. I'm going to think of a couple ways to see if I can help you and then bring it here and
Mhm.
let Evan explain, how we could do it creatively for them and then go back and practice. And one good thing too is to always look at things like practice. That's kind of what I even did when I did my first sub two pitch by myself. I'm like, I really did want to help him, but I'm like, hey, at least I get to practice it. So yeah, I would, um, or even if you can come up with something that's not an actual lead you've got, but something, okay, how would I take this house at this price? What could I do with it besides the wholesale cash offer? What would that look like in this situation? And then let Evan walk it through for you so you can learn that way.
yeah,
That's right.
I
That's
get
right.
hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, because I kind of had a similar question in the sense of like, what if I did come up on a lead and I'm new to this? Could I bring it to somebody and say, okay, can you help me out with this, or can we walk through some steps? And I was wondering if y'all would like be willing to mentor like some of the people who don't necessarily know what they're getting into quite yet, or how it's going to work as far as their first deal.
Absolutely. That's literally why we've started this group, is to be able to hopefully do deals with y'all. That's one of the main things. I mean, I pay for this group every month, by the way. I don't make money from this. So it's like, this is like, I truly enjoy doing this. And if you're on these calls and you actually come prepared with like questions, I promise you, I will not hold anything back. So like, that's my promise to you. So then your promise to yourself is like, am I actually willing to write down some of these questions that I have throughout the week? Am I going to come with them? Because I can guarantee you the best times I've had, like I think when you partner up with someone, what are you doing? You're paying for experience,
Right.
right? You're taking a shortcut. I paid $500 for a dinner the other day because I was paying for experience for somebody, right? I
Mhm.
wanted to have a relationship. I wanted to pay for experience. So that was an expensive dinner. Well, it's a lot for me,
Yeah.
right? But it's like I understand it's an investment. And so what you're doing is like, hey, you know what? I'm willing to take half, or I'm willing to take a certain percentage off of this deal because I'm willing to pay for this experience. And so what I would do, if I were in your shoes, bro, here's exactly what I would do. I would watch all of the YouTube training like videos that we've done on like sub two specifically, like some of the and seller finance, learn some of those pitches. And then what I would do is I would start calling homeowners and I would start with price first. So talk to them about their motivation, where they want to go, how fast they want to close, condition, and then ultimately get down to, okay, after we take care of this mortgage that you have, and how much is that? 100,000. Okay. How much are you hoping to walk away with in your pocket? Okay. Once you have that number, that's going to tell you a lot immediately. Is it going to tell you, is this even have room for a cash offer or does it have to be creative? That's number one. Number two, then you can ask, hey, is that the least you would take? And you can negotiate from there. Right. And then you can say, like what Cyndi said, hey, you know what? I'm going to talk to my partner, right? Evan or Cyndi or Griffin or Amir or whatever. And we're going to see if we can make this work for you. Can I give you a call back at this time? Okay, cool. Tee it up. Shoot me a text. You'll be like, hey, I got this deal. I have a question about it. I don't know what to do. And if you want to partner up on it, I think the cheat code is, and I'm telling you the sauce right now, this is what I would do. If I was first learning, I would hop on a call with someone that knows how to pitch creative. I would record the call that I did with that person and I would copy his pitch the next time.
Yep.
That's what I would do.
Your script. Yep.
That's the sauce.
Yep.
And you paid 50% of a deal for one time. And now you got a good way of pitching it. Now, are there going to be things you got to learn and maybe partner on more deals? Yeah. But does that help at all? Or does it feel like realistic or doable? Cool. I want it to feel that way. So it's awesome. I want to see like so many people this year get their first deal. Like, and not just first. I want to see you get to like a deal a month. Like, I don't know if that would change your life, but it changes a lot of other people's lives.
Yep.
What other questions we got?
I want to know what Julie does. The other woman on the line. There may be others, but
Hi,
yes, there are.
everybody. I'm kind of new into real estate investing, so looking for to just to decide on the strategy. And I think I found that honestly, I'm scared to death to call anybody, and that's crazy because I'm in consulting, so I think it's just nerves right now. So I haven't really made my first phone call yet.
I'm so glad you're honest about it because we had a team in the beginning with realtors, like really, really,
Yeah.
and when we would actually, I don't know if you remember Amir, but we would actually do calls to a customer, a lead, with all of us watching, and they just were scared to death to do it. I was too, but I tell you that'll go away once you dive in and just take away the so what? How it turns out. At least I'm going to call and be nice and, just take it off your back. If I can help them, I can. If I can, I can't.
And I think if I make it more about them than it is about me, it'll be
Yes.
better.
Yes. That is the
The
secret.
other thing is also like just trying to find the leads. Do you guys use like pre-foreclosure listings? Like, how do you find your leads of people to call?
Well, we joined the niche community, with Michael. And so we do pay through leads through there. But for a while too, I don't know if Amir would like to jump in and explain how you could get leads for free because he would pull them for us.
Sure, yeah. So, hey everybody. As far as the list goes, specifically for foreclosures, what I would do for myself and for the team in the early days, I would just go to the county website, which should be exactly the address in Tennessee's Tennessee tnpublicrecord.com. You can go there, you can put the filters in, which is gonna be foreclosures, and then there's gonna be notices that is being published every day. There's gonna be the address of the house, the owner who signed the deed of trust, or basically the mortgage, all the date, everything there. And then all you have to do is to just go and find their number. And I'll give you another free source for that. and that would be True People Search. That's pretty much accurate as it is free.
Mm-hmm.
Two people search?
True.
True People.
True people.
It's not.
Huh. Those are awesome nuggets. Thank you.
For sure.
We're not holding
Again,
anything
thank you
back
for,
here.
I like her being honest though about calling because I think everybody thinks everybody's just so cool and calm and great at calling, and because you
Mhm.
look very put together and professional. And I'm like, I was shocked when you first said you have trouble. I'm like, what? But I shouldn't be
Well,
because
you guys, and I just lost my consulting job on Monday, last
oh
Monday. So
my,
I'm
I
sorry.
gotta make some bucks here.
there
So
you go. Maybe try to ask yourself too how you can use how comfortable you were with consulting when you talk to someone in this arena too. Like, how is it really so different? Maybe it's not in a sense. You know
I
what I
don't think
mean?
the talking is necessarily, I can peel an onion back pretty well when I know what I'm talking about. I think that's,
I hear you. I hear you.
oh, but I think repetition and that practice, I think the best thing is just practice.
And
And
like Evan said, if you can find somebody a call and then like that resonates with you the way they did that call, like Evan, we have a library, right? Yeah. And if you can listen to his
Yeah.
call and go, wow, I like how that flowed. I like the way he said that. Or you can just Google and YouTube Pace Morby and think about it, cold calls, live cold calls. Michael Frank, he has free stuff on YouTube and he'll literally go through a cold call for foreclosures for you. And if you like the way he does it, go, okay, and literally copy it, you know?
I've never heard of Michael Frank until tonight.
He's
So,
wonderful. He's probably the best there is. Yeah, and he worked, I think, with Pace. He and Pace were friends for a long time until he kind of was totally on his own.
okay, awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Cindy, I don't want to put Cindy on the spot, but it may be helpful if you like sent her your number or something and y'all could
Sure.
connect. And
Yeah,
if she has questions or whatever, maybe she can just shoot you a text and
I'll
maybe
put
there's
it
some
in
like
there.
little kind of mentorship there, just with the first little part, helping her
I'd
get
love
a deal
to.
pretty quick. Yeah,
Seriously,
can be
John.
really
awesome.
cool.
Hey, I put my number there and you send me yours and I'll put you in my phone.
Okay.
Do we
Yeah.
have time real quick to hear from the other? Am I missing any
Oh,
other girls?
oh, we got a. Oh yeah, there's Jenny right here, but we got other.
Jenny. Jenny, what's
Whoever
going on
else
with
wants to ask
Jenny?
questions.
I know she's got to figure out how to unmute. How do I unmute?
I know I have you on a big screen over here, like so my husband can he wanted you on the big screen, so I'm like all confused because it's
Hi,
not right
hubby.
here in my laptop. This is my husband Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hey,
So
Brian.
I actually got into real estate to do investing and was interested in wholesaling, and then I stopped in the middle of kind of training and learning and figuring all that out to get licensed. And then it's just been everything has just been crazy, honestly. I got licensed, I'm a licensed realtor, but I don't love real estate retail sales like at all. Like I don't love it. It's beneficial. I feel like it's super beneficial because of just connections I've made and I have access to the MLS and there's certain things that I can network with just other realtors and all real estate professionals and vendors and all of that. But I don't retail sales is not like my future career. And I know that. And I've always known that because I feel like the Lord brought me into real estate investing.
Mhm.
And I decided to go down the property management path. So I'm also a property manager. But really, everything about real estate that I struggle with is acquisitions and the calls, the cold calls, and finding the leads. And I think that's what makes this industry and industries like this and sales industries difficult is leads and acquisitions. That's the hardest part. If everyone just came to us, it would be super easy job. But so my husband is like single-handedly remodeling our whole house, and he's been
Woo!
in construction in all different types of areas. And he's an electrician, but he's done everything for like 30 years. 30 years he's done everything. So he's got that piece. Like he knows construction and good construction. And I'm learning all things real estate, and we're kind of just been in that learning phase and really self education. I've also purchased some courses. What is it when you analysis paralysis, the whole thing.
Been
And then
there.
fine, and we had some things happen in the beginning of this year that really made us just like pull away from all this for a minute. But we finally have come back like a week ago where we're both like, I think we just need to get on top of this right now and like get the ball rolling. So we're like officially ready. So I was actually going to reach out to you, Evan, and see if we could find a time to just like pay for a lunch for you and really pick your brain, bring some questions, and maybe try to partner on some things. So that's where we're
Really
at.
fun.
We've been off of these calls for quite some time, but we've had the reminder set. So we keep on having this reminder pop up on our calendar, and then, we life got in the way, and we're really feeling like we officially want to pull the trigger, but we don't exactly know what we want to do yet. So we kind of need some help figuring out what the strategy is going to be, creative financing, what can we do? Are we actually ready? Do we need to give it some more time? Can we just dive in? Are we wanting, to hold or cash flow? We really don't know. We're kind of just open. But anyways, I can ramble and go on and on, but that's where I'm at. I actually have a background in workforce development and nonprofit. So going into like real estate sales is the weirdest thing because I hate it. I hate it, but I love it. It's a love-hate relationship. I love real estate, but I'm not a salesperson. So this is anyone who can mentor me to get really good at acquisition and closing the deal. Please call me. Help.
What my mentor, I keep seeing a picture of a puzzle when you're talking and you have all these pieces. You just got them. All you got to do
Yeah.
is just put them all together. You really do. And in everything that you need for real estate. And I will say this, my mentor told me a long time ago, we're all in sales. When you tell your
Hmm.
kid to clean his room and have him do it, you're selling him he needs to clean his room. I mean, we really are all in sales. Everything moves with sales. So I would
You're
stop telling
right.
yourself you're not a salesperson because you probably are
Right.
better than you think you are.
Well, the nonprofit federally funded workforce development grant that I administered for a decade, I sold to the community by explaining what this was and how it could help them. I had to get them to
Yeah.
enroll. It was a super long process. They had to jump through all kinds of hoops and get me all their personal documentation. I had to be good at sales to do that, but it was easier for me to do that because it was a free service I was providing them to help change their life. And to me, it's been really hard for me mentally to transfer that over to I'm basically doing the same thing. I am providing a service to help transform their life. In real estate, it's just not that I have this grant that I'm going to pay for things. So
It's
I'm
kind of
having to
it's kind of like
kind
what
of
Ben said.
transition.
It's kind of like what Ben said though. And he said it really well. Are we helping people or are we taking advantage of them?
Right.
Are we
No,
just
I've,
I
yeah.
mean, when Evan and I close the deal, are we really helping them by stopping the auction? Are we really? And we have to answer that. And I think
Hmm.
you're not convinced yet if you do
No.
sell them that you are helping them. So you have to be able to, and you're going to go through, 50 to 70 calls that they're not motivated. They don't need
Hmm.
you. And it's okay they don't need you. In fact, is he still on? Griffin, what's that thing you told me the other day, Griffin,
Yeah, I'm
about
on
that guy?
here.
Share that about that guy
Wait,
that
what?
remember about the sale, like you don't really need it. It doesn't fit everybody. You say he's kind of nuts, that sales guy, the
Oh
ninja.
yeah, it's like especially in what we do, it's like we're not selling anything. In my mind, it's like I don't look at myself as like a salesman. I think you just go down a path or like an order of operations on how to handle a conversation. And then if there's like a solution for them, then you just present that solution. But it's not selling. Like you can't sell everyone. And
All
some
right.
people you can't fix, you can't like present this perfect solution for them. Like even when you think that it's a good solution for them and you offer it to them, it may not be, and they may be like, no, like you can't sell everyone. So I think knowing that you can't sell everyone gives you like a burden off your shoulders, because every conversation that you have that it doesn't go your way, instead of like beating down on yourself and being like, oh, I'm not a good salesman. It's like,
Exactly.
no, they just weren't ready. This wasn't their opportunity. This wasn't their solution. So hopefully
Yeah,
that helps like take some weight off your shoulders.
yeah, that's
Dude,
good.
that's so
Good thing.
good. That's so good. And I think it's also difficult to, um, I think if you don't know clearly if you're helping them or taking advantage of them and that's blurry, you haven't dug deep enough on their problems. That's what I would say. Because if you dig deep enough into their problems, you talk to them, let's say you talk to them for a full day. You just sat with them for a full day in their living room, talked about their whole life and their problems. You would know pretty quick if it was a good solution for them or not, and if you were taking advantage or not.
Yeah,
Right? You
yeah.
would. So I think that's what you got to think about too. It's like, let's figure out why you even need this and learn some questions to kind of push away.
Hmm.
Like, why not just go list it with a realtor? You could totally do that. You're gonna make more money doing that. Like, why not? Oh, well, I don't want to do this, but like, why not though? Well, because no, 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 no. Okay. So there's a piece of value that you bring. You're telling them, right? you bring value, but you're also starting to tell yourself, oh, this is the value that I bring. I am helping them avoid doing that,
And
cutting 3 months off the process. Yeah.
there's another one we say, what is it? Oh, I'm going to lose it. We don't need to buy your house. We have plenty of houses to buy because we do. We have plenty of people that, need help and we can buy their house. So we really don't need to buy your house. But if this is the best solution, we'll certainly take a look at it. So you're like, that's what Evan's saying. You pull back. That's good. That's psychologically, and it's true. We have plenty of houses to buy and deals. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever say that, but it's true. Now it's true.
You
So,
say it enough, it comes true.
that's right.
Can I
Do you
just say
guys,
Thanks for
something?
sharing.
Oh, you're good.
do you guys
Yeah.
like talk to or network with other agents or like reach out to listings that look like it'll be a good fit for you guys at all too, or you just mostly direct the seller?
Take it away, Amir.
No, mostly direct to seller. On the foreclosure side, we do call some of the agents of homeowners that are in foreclosure, but Amir actually manages like the other leg of our business, which is like direct to agent. So we're just reaching out to agents, and a lot of it's not creative. It's mostly cash offers, unless we find there's like a really good reason as to why maybe creative would work. Agents works too, and honestly, like what I would say for Julie, like when she kind of mentioned, it's kind of like getting on the phone or like not knowing enough, that kind of conversations, like whatever's in your head. Like I felt those feelings too, and I think agents was a great place for me to start. Just to kind of segue that, because you could literally call the agent and be like, hey, I just wanted to connect. I'm actually just kind of getting started buying properties, and like I just wanted to see kind of what areas you covered. You could literally just start with that conversation, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I cover Columbia. And, oh, by the way, can you tell me about the listing that you have on whatever? Oh yeah, I'd love to tell you about it. What do you want to know? Oh, well, I want to know about the condition. And like now you just ease into it. And you're like, oh, I did that. That was a first step, And then you kind of just take it from there and you ask harder questions over time. I think that's the key.
A really good idea. Thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah, that's what I did. It helped me a lot. I was scared to death. So
Well, you don't seem like it now.
not as much anymore. Takes practice.
Yeah.
What other questions we got? Summer, what's up, dude?
I have a question actually. What's up, man? How you doing?
Summer is the best, dude. If you got a deal you want to sell it to Summer. Don't even sell it to me.
I
Sell it to
appreciate
Summer.
that. I appreciate that, man. But yeah, so I've worked with Evan and Amir on like more the cash side, and that's sort of my expertise. But I do have a question relating to kind of your guys' sales process, because in every sales process, and I really like the part about you're not actually selling. But in a sales process, there's always like an urgency buildup. And do you guys on the like sub two side have that urgency thing, or is it kind of not there? Like, do you put that on the side, or is there an urgency for them too? Is there an urgency pitch?
I see. Could you give an example of what you feel like that might look like if we did have an urgency pitch, like for sub two?
Like, is there a pressure? Like, is there a point on them? Like, well, you press on the thing of like, well, the foreclosure date is coming, so you really want them to like react quickly because you have that kind of hard deadline for them.
I think it's after we've been over all the options. Like we just had a call with the one we are just stopping, and
Mm-hmm.
we weren't sure which way she'd go. Evan was pretty confident after getting on a three-way call with her. And then she still was kind of on the fence. And I literally, to the bottom of my heart, said to her, what are you going to do? Because we knew she couldn't do anything else but sell. What are you going to do if the bank comes and just takes everything?
So it's at the end almost. Like you've went through everything and it's kind of at the end where it's like, all right,
Kind of the timing you have to know. But yes,
right,
when you know there's nothing, when you really know there's nothing else better for them, then there has to be
right.
that urgency. Like you have to make, what do you do? And but let them do it. You don't tell
Mm-hmm.
them, you have to buy it. It's like what would you do? The bank's going to come,
Right.
I hope that helps. Yeah.
No, it does
I
a
think
lot.
I think that's good. Yeah, I don't feel like we really apply a lot of that. The only time that I apply some form of urgency is if I feel like someone's trying to shop my offer around. And then I'm kind of like, hey, like we're looking at some other houses and like I would need a decision by today just to, but we don't really pull that unless we really feel like someone's being like flaky with us. For the most part, and I'm not saying that's wrong, that's just the way that we do it. And I think it feels more like Cyndi said this sometimes, or it makes it in the beginning at least made her uncomfortable, where a lot of times I'll ask like, okay, like here's kind of sub two, we'll talk through the script. And I'd be like, do you feel like that this, might be the answer for you? Cyndi knows. And they'll be
And they
like,
go, yes. And he'd go,
yeah,
why? I'm like,
yeah,
what?
why? Right. And it's like, why do we ask that why? Well, because if they can't explain it to you, then
Yeah.
they're probably not
Right.
going to sign it, to be honest. And like, you're not going to trick them into it. And when you say why, it helps them to remember, like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. And this is why this is helpful for me. Um, so, I think it's a really good thing. Why, and you could even say, I mean, you could put this off for another 2-3 months. Like, why not just do that? Well, because here's why. I've said that before too. You just can't be scared to lose it. It's like, I'm not worried. Like, this is for you.
Right.
Mhm.
We make money too, which is awesome. But I mean, it's like, at the end of the day, like, we can go do this with 100 more people. It doesn't have to be you. So I think that's a great question. Do you have any other
Mhm.
thoughts on that, Summer? Like, some times do you feel like that is helpful to do?
I mean, I think it's very different, and it's gonna play a role. Like, depending on what side of the business you're doing, it's gonna be very different in terms of how you play urgency. Um, with us, like our cash offer thing, at least when we're direct to seller, it's going to be, all right, like we're giving you this offer. At the same time, I don't want them shopping my offer, like just using it or using it as a backup, knowing that, well, where you're always going to be there, right? So we do use the urgency card in terms of like, listen, like this is good till 5 p.m. tomorrow or 5 p.m. in 48 hours or whatever it is, right? Just to kind of, we want them to sign, like we want to get the deal and not face, I guess, the competition. So like it's very different, I think, business to business in terms of like what side you're playing on, right? Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, we definitely use the urgency card. Sorry,
it's
go ahead,
absolutely
Griffin.
different because yeah, like you're creating urgency, and in our case, when we're dealing with foreclosures, like there already is urgency. Like we don't have to create it;
Correct.
it's already there.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a really good point. Now, I will say there are times that people are unreasonable about the timelines on what we can actually do. They're like, hey, if I call you 4 hours before the sale, like, could we just do something then?
yeah,
And then we do kind of have to be like, okay, I just need you to know this is totally your decision. But if we don't have at least 48 hours, it's going to be extremely tough for us to do anything. And the likelihood of us stopping the sale is like basically none. So I just need you to understand that. So knowing that, and you kind of put context, so there's the urgency. So knowing that, I guess, like, what do you feel like is riskier for you? And then you just kind of give them the two options and you kind of break that down. Right. And so I think there is a way to put that urgency in there, like you said. I think that's a good point. Any final thoughts, final questions? This is great. Very productive call. I feel like we got a lot out of this. I know I did.
Enjoyed
Cyndi,
it.
thank you for being willing to share the struggles and also the fun stuff, and such a fun journey. I'm
It is.
thankful to get to do it with all of y'all. And if y'all have questions throughout the week, please like post it in the community. Like, that's why it's there. I want you to use it as much as you want. I want to be there to answer questions. And um, if any of y'all here are local in Nashville want to grab coffee, meet up, I'd love to do that too. So and Julie, definitely take Cyndi up on that. She will change your life, I promise you, and help
Already
kind of give you
texted
I
next
her.
already
steps.
texted
Already.
her.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, y'all have a wonderful Wednesday. God bless you.
You
All
too.
Call me if you
right.
need anything. All right.
Thank you
See y'all.
guys
bye
so
y'all.
much.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
y'all. Bye.